Hello again YouTube, it's Skylar. Welcome back to my face. And in today's video, I'd like to take a little time aside to help anyone out there who may be struggling with their transition, as did I in the beginning stages of transitioning. Now, I will point out that I am not a doctor. This is not a health video. Any health-related information or questions should be referred to your doctor. And with that said, I'm going to assume that if you are coming to this video that you are both a trans woman and you have not started transitioning yet and you want to find out more information about that. So, let's say that you have recently discovered that you are transgender and that is going to become necessary for you to transition from male to female. And this can be a really daunting task, especially in the beginning, because there's just the swirl of emotions that go with that, as well as the confusion as to where to start, what to do. It can all be really overwhelming, as it was for me. So I wanted to make this video today for anybody out there that may be in that position, and hopefully make someone feel a little bit better about themselves. So if you've already established that you're transgender and that transitioning is going to happen, that you need to transition but you don't know where to start, the most important thing to do is set up a game plan. And what I mean by that is sort of work with yourself to realize where you want to be and set goals. So full-on transition can be really challenging, it can be really scary, but there's a lot of things that you can do before you transition that'll help you just make the whole process a lot easier. So, for example, if you are pre-transition, the first thing that I would probably recommend is to start getting laser hair treatments if you have facial hair, which most men do. So it's more than likely that if you are pre-transition that you have unwanted facial hair. So the first thing that you should probably do is schedule an appointment with a local laser hair removal treatment center and sort of get that whole process going, because that takes a considerable length of time to remove all of the hair. Another thing that you can do is trying women's clothes. And I know this can be really scary at first, because for a lot of trans women, I know for myself, my personal experience, there was a lot of anxiety around it because I had to hide it for a long time, and that was really scary, because I felt like I was hiding my true self and then living this lie throughout the day. But through that difficult time, that it did really help me process those emotions, that helped me realize that yes, this is something that I'm going to have to do. I am going to have to transition, and it just helped me emotionally. So it's really important that you start preparing yourself for being a woman, and that involves wearing women's clothes. So, and this is one of the things that you're going to have to either rip off like a band-aid, or you're going to have to slowly pull it off. Either way, it's going to be uncomfortable. So my recommendation is to just kind of get it over with as soon as possible. You know, if transition is medically necessary, it's something that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to get past this part. So you're just going to have to tell yourself to be a big girl and go down and buy clothes. And if you really feel that that's too much stress, that's too much anxiety, you could always bring a female friend along. This helps a lot. Or if it's so overwhelming, you could always try to purchase clothes offline and have them delivered to your house. I don't recommend that, but if your anxiety levels are that high, then obviously that's something that you'll have to consider. Another thing that you can do prior to transitioning is starting hormone replacement therapy. And this is a really big step, so it's important that you do all of your research and information and speak with a licensed professional endocrinologist and make sure that you get all of the facts and information prior to this, because hormone replacement therapy is not something that is recommended for anyone that isn't transgender. They do use it for menopausal women, but that's not the primary purpose of what I'm discussing it about. But once you have started hormone replacement therapy, the trajectory is that you will stay on that for the rest of your life. So it's really important that you make an informed decision about this, because it's a very important decision, and you want to make sure that you get all the facts. So just make sure to talk with a doctor who is a licensed professional who has a lot of experience specifically with helping transgender people. And that should help bring down your anxiety levels a lot, getting that process growing. If you feel comfortable enough to start HRT at that point. The effects of HRT usually are slow at first, so if you're planning on transitioning within several months of starting it, it's usually a good time, because the noticeable effects won't happen overnight. So it's not as if you're just going to suddenly become a woman and everyone will notice. But again, that's something that you should only start if you're ready and if you need it. So make sure that you get all the information. Another good thing is to try experimenting with cosmetics. You can do this in your own personal time. I actually was adventurous enough to experiment with cosmetics in public prior to my transition, which that was a pretty interesting experience, but it did give me a huge sense of confidence and help propel my journey through transition. And also remember to make sure that if you are employed, that you inform your employer about your journey, that they have enough time to prepare for any social barriers that they may have to overcome with that. So another good thing to keep in mind as well is make sure to always talk to people. You can start to either slowly come out to people that you really trust and care about, friends, family members. This really helps break the ice, because I know myself personally, when I was transitioning, telling the first people, like the first 10 people, was the hardest, and then every time after that got easier and easier. So you really want to make sure that you come out to the people that you trust the most first. And if this is too much to bear, this is too overwhelming, make sure to consider the possibility of seeing a counselor or a therapist that can help you soundboard your emotions to help work through this problem so that you can get going. Because the main point of this whole video is that if you are a transgender woman, transition is inevitable. Transition is a necessary component for your well-being. It's going to happen, but the logistics of it really come down to personal preference. This is only a guideline. This isn't like a series of you should do this, 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 but more of just a general understanding. And I wish there was a video like this when I was transitioning at this point, because it would have been a lot more helpful. So hopefully if you are in that same position and you have a lot of anxiety about transitioning and you don't know where to start, hopefully this was helpful. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Please remember to stay positive and like, share, and subscribe to this video so I can keep making more great content. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and bye.